Hello and welcome back on my channel. Thank you so much for joining me again for... If you're new here, hi, my name is Cece and what we're doing today is looking at somebody else's manga recommendation. We're going to watch why they're recommending it, and then we're going to read it and review if it is a good manga to get into as a beginner manga reader. I have started dabbling my toes into the manga world. I still consider myself to be new to the manga world, so I might not get all the references, all the cultural references. And if you are, just as me, new to the manga world, want to get into mangas, I think this series could give you a very, very good idea about where to start and maybe what to put off for later or what type of book might not be for you. So today's recommendation comes from Kate File. Let's check out what they have to say.
The first one I have to talk about is a 2-volume series, which is Chobits by Clamp. If you know me, Clamp are some of my favorite people who make manga. Like, I just am always picking up Clamp. I've only disliked one series by them, if I'm honest. So Chobits is wonderful. This is a story, I guess it's a sci-fi, about a world where there are androids, and this young boy who is kind of poor finds an android in the garbage and is kind of like, what happened? And he gets her back online and everything, and that is where we get, what's her name? Is it Chi? Yeah, whoa. That's weird. There's also the cat book that's cheap. But anyways, these are amazing, and I absolutely love Clamp's art style. I would say that these are definitely a little bit, like Clamp in general, is a little bit more boy humor, if I'm completely honest. But I personally really, really enjoy it. And this is just the story about this world, this sci-fi world, and androids, and Chi, and what her story is, and this boy that helps her. I really enjoyed this one, but it has been quite a little while since I read it, so I don't remember exact details, but I do just love Clamp and always recommend Clamp. So there's some art for you guys.
All right, so that's interesting. So they did say that it only has 2 volumes, but then they held up this, there goes my phone, this big ass book that looks like it might be an omnibus or something, because the book that I got looks like this and it's much smaller. It is also the German translation because I have easier access to that kind of book. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to research if what Kate held in their hand is something like an omnibus and how many volumes we actually have. But for now, let's just get in it and read about Chi and the little boy. And 30 minutes later and I am done. So this is a complicated one. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars because it is not for me, and I just think that it is lacking in storyline and logic. So I do think that there is definitely an audience for this, but it is not me, and I don't think it is a lot of people. To be honest, it feels like Kate did mention that this is boys' humor, which I'm fine with. I do enjoy boys' humor from time to time, but this is more like a hormonal young boy's wet dream. It's not humor, it's just very much focused on just seeing women as a sexual object, which I know that there is a time and place in boys' minds for that to happen, but I don't necessarily need to read from that perspective. And I mean, there's a whole freaking chapter just about purchasing panties for the damn computer. And I'm like, is there a need for that? Why does he need to go out and buy panties? It's not explained. It's just, I feel like it's just there because the author wanted to talk about panties for a chapter. And so I felt like a lot of the storyline, a lot of the plot was just pushed towards topics that a little boy wants to talk about or wants to think about or wants to notice on a woman's body. The computer also, like this robot, is supposed to potentially have be more than a robot and have like a conscience and be potentially even become self-aware or something. So it's like this rare robot that has developed or is more than just a robot. But this robot does not act like a robot at all. It acts like a stupid pet that you're training and that you're teaching things. It's kind of the middle between an infant that simply does not know the world at all and just stumbles around, and a pet that jumps onto their owner when they come home. There's no logic behind the decisions that this computer makes, and there's no explanation for why this computer is suddenly reacting this way. And even if we have a robot that starts reacting illogically because they have a conscience, they have feelings, etc., you can still feel in a good narration the conflict. You can still understand what's happening and see the logic and still see some of the robotic behaviors and traits and everything. And none of this was in here. This is just a pet that does whatever the master wants, and that this boy, well, he's 19 in the book, teaches things. But honestly, why does the on button have to be in the lady's crotch? Why does the person who is testing to see if this computer has any like updates or system or anything, or is trying to investigate anything about the computer, why is it first twisting a nipple? Like as one of the first things they do, and then they spread their legs because that's where the serial number is. This is not a sci-fi story with some boyish humor. No. I understand that there's a market for this, and this might be for my son who's 16. He might enjoy this, but not for a good storyline and not for a good plot, not for great characters, simply because it's all that potentially boys at that age think about. I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed in this. I had high hopes for this one. I was ready for a sci-fi robot story because that's what I'm fully in the mood for. Let me know what you think about this one. Let me know if you have read it, if you want to read it, if it's for you, if I'm being a little bit too harsh on this one. All in all, I don't think it's a good start for a beginner to choose this, but then again, Kate did not say that it's necessarily a good manga for beginners. It's just a manga that Kate enjoys, but I did not, and that is fine because taste is different. But overall, I don't think it's a good manga for beginners unless you're 15 years old or maybe 13 years old. I hope to see you again on my channel real soon, and subscribe before you leave. Bye!
Just loving